It's Friday. We're talking about fries and McDonald's and Wendy's and all of the fabulous junk food that is bad for us. So Fries DAO, a new DAO, wants to crowdfund the next fast food franchise. The Fries DAO group is starting a $9.69 million fundraising drive where benefactors will receive voting rights over which fast food chain the DAO buys. Now, while members have the voting rights that influence the decision on the acquisition of the restaurant, they will not have ownership rights, a stake in its profit, or final say in the business. So, Zach, I'm going to toss this over to you because the last time we spoke about DAOs, I asked you a question and then I froze and was deplatformed and was gone and I never heard your answer. And you were talking about the decentralized and the autonomous part of DAOs, which I think is the crux of this story, right? People are holding this token. They don't actually get any part of the business, but it all comes down to the regulation and the decentralized autonomousness of it all. So take it away. Tell me what you think of this story and maybe touch on what you were saying in that segment, which I was kicked out of.
Okay, well, first of all, those fries look really tasty. I got to say that. So shout out to the fries in that photo, looking delicious. It's delicious as always. All right. Second of all, yeah, I think with this emergence of DAOs, we're going to see this like tricky and kind of awkward dance around like, you know, the ideals of decentralized governance butting heads with the reality of securities laws in the US especially. And I think what is happening here in FriesDAO is they're trying to kind of thread the needle to make this work in some way because, hey, it's one of these funny, audacious, kind of cool goals that people on the internet can rally their funds and their energy behind to make happen. But you also don't want to be seen as like, you know, issuing a security because that comes with certain ramifications that may be unpleasant to most folks. So this, to me, is, again, one of these tension stories that we're seeing. Like, I think people are sort of captivated by the idea of what a DAO can do and can be. This, you know, really came to a head with, like, the ConstitutionDAO saga that was, like, on national headlines everywhere. Oh, we can do this. Friends on the internet with the shared bank account can buy a national treasure. You know, we're seeing these experiments with golf courses and now with fast food. But it's still sort of murky, undefined legal territory. So everyone is treading very cautiously here. You know, we talked about LinksDAO. They rolled out their NFTs. They were going to roll out a governance token. They ultimately shelved those plans to roll out a governance token because there were those unresolved legal questions that could put these projects in hot water with US regulators. So, I mean, this is interesting to see. It would be cool to see these things just live in the wild unimpeded, but that's not the reality we live in. So, you know, these considerations have to be made. And I think, you know, this piece really articulates some of the considerations that this project is making. So, yeah. Fries. Will, fries.
I'll pick it up. I'll pick up the fries. I can't eat anything at fast food restaurants because I'm very gluten-free, but it was interesting to see the story nonetheless. This brought me to 2 points. If you know Joseph DeLong, he is a former CTO of SushiSwap, which is a DAO focused on building the SushiSwap exchange, which is basically an exchange for tokens, just like Coinbase, but it's all automated and on-chain. He left the project pretty recently, and the reason for leaving the project from his tweets and from the reporting I've seen has basically come down to the fact that it's very, very, very difficult to engineer and run a DAO. Almost impossible. It's impossible to coordinate all these things. A lot of times because the incentives aren't there. In order to get funds for your team to incentivize them to build better code, you need money. To get that money, you have to ask for it from a treasury. The treasury is controlled by a bunch of people who are holding that token and they don't want to see it liquidated. So basically the incentives aren't aligned. And you look at this McDonald's story, I kind of see the same thing, right? There's no incentives aligned for the people who are getting into this besides kind of sticking with the meme. So it's almost like the Constitution story redux, right? We have the same thing. People who are involved with it have governance tokens that are totally meaningless besides being a part of it. And if that's what you want to do, that's totally fun. Go have fun with it. I think that's something about crypto that's really interesting is you can just dump a bunch of money to be in a meme project and, you know, be a part of a community. And even the Discord, Danny kind of put that in the bottom of the story. There's like 5,000 members of the Discord. They're all shift members. There's some shift managers. There's like boss, the manager of the Fries DAO. Pretty fun thing to be a part of. Like, and I've been in those group chats in the past. They're really, really fun. It's almost like when you purchase that token, you're paying for a comedy night or you're paying for events, you know, Elages or Six Flags or something like that. That's what it kind of comes down to for me. And no, like you're not going to get money out of this at all. Securities laws, they'll just stamp you out pretty quickly, and nobody wants to go to jail over what amounts to a meme. Jen, I want to throw this over to you though. I like these kind of stories more than the cringy metaverse things we've been seeing from like Warner Brothers and others.
Well, you're welcome then for covering this story on a Friday. I'm happy I could send you off into the weekend with a smile on your face. I just wonder though, the people who are joining these DAOs and joining these Discords, like, are they actually active in the Discords? I've said this on the show before. There's 5,000 people in there. I would love to see how many people are actually active and contributing to this conversation. I don't think I don't think the ratio justifies what we're. Yeah.
We've been they always just say the same thing. When token, when rebase, when pump, when to buy. It's just the same phrases over and over again.
I know. George, what do you think of this? Like, do people understand what they're getting into when they're getting into DAOs? And is this just like a really early way to prove out these governance tokens, and we just have a long way to go on this roadmap?
Yeah, I don't mean to sound paternalistic, but I don't think they do know, because when I read this, I thought that you actually had an ownership stake in whatever fast food franchise that they were buying. I was actually completely unaware that they have no stake in the cash flows. That I was super excited about this because I thought, people were getting together, people who are unaccredited investors, and they're able to buy something like cash flowing business or potentially cash flowing business to, build their wealth in a time when it's difficult to build wealth. And I don't know, I got rug pulled by Jen because she said that they don't get any money. That's stupid. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't really have a better word than that. I guess, the SEC is the paternalistic one here, because securities law is securities law because they say so, not because they're necessarily protecting us. Protect us from making money. Oh, no. Again, not saying you should invest in Fries DAO, but I should be able to, buy a fast food franchise with 5,000 of my best friends if we raise the funds.
That's a great line.